Guys, welcome to another Wednesday, and they are 3-0 on the Plains there. Mike G, thank you so much for joining us for another War Rapport Wednesday. I want to start out with this question. Look, you're 3-0. Auburn, this is where we expected Auburn to be. Are you cautiously optimistic at this point?
I am. Look, Auburn has won every game they played, and there are some people who are maybe a little negative about where the defense is at. Sure. And they've got time to improve. Look, Auburn is winning where it matters, and that's on the scoreboard. Limiting opponents from scoring is the name of the game. So, look, the bend but don't break defense that they play, where the teams move the ball up and down the field, but then they stop them from scoring, that's not going to do anything for your anxiety. But certainly, look, I think it's who they are. I think it's part of their identity. And, if the offense can catch up, and when I say catch up, I mean based on what they did last year at Rex, I think Auburn has a great opportunity here headed into Norman to, announce to the college football world that we're back. 4 straight losing seasons, they're not going to have a fifth, but it's going to be about how far past that bar can they actually go. And
that's what people are really excited for, because as we start SEC play now, let's talk about that environment. Look, even we heard Jackson Arnold, we heard Hugh Freeze jokingly say, I don't have social media anymore. But to me, that talks to the testament of their focus. This is going to be a hostile environment in Oklahoma and Norman, because obviously coming home for Jackson Arnold. But what do you think? Do you think they have the right resolve heading into this big-time matchup?
Yeah, I think, and I've spoken to a few players, they are amped for this one. Look, Jackson Arnold has a chance to go into Norman, get a win versus his old team, his old coach. But I think he's treating it like any other game. We heard from him, this week, and he's got his mind in the right place. He's focused on the right things. This is a great opportunity for Auburn. The next 3 games at Oklahoma, at Texas A&M, and Georgia at home. Right. You have an opportunity, just win 1 out of the next 3 and then maybe go on a run. But I think, Rex, maybe even the expectations have grown some. Okay. Now people feel like 2 out of the next 3, or all these games should be winnable. Right. I mean, the SEC looks wide open right now. I picked Georgia to win the conference at media days. I still think they're the class of the conference. I think the comeback on the road versus Tennessee kind of solidifies that thought. But Auburn has a chance to steal into that top 4 or 5 that really have a chance to at least maybe not make the playoff, but have a say in who makes it.
Now, that would be really interesting. I wanted to bring up Georgia, actually. You brought it up right there, is that Georgia had a comeback at Rocky Top. It was fantastic to watch. However, me talking with you, we see the wide receiver room at Auburn. They are explosive, they are dangerous, and that Georgia defensive backfield looks pretty vulnerable right now. Talking with some people, it looks like that could be a big factor, a big concern moving forward. Look, I know it's down the line and we got to focus on Oklahoma right now, but with all the talent in that wide receiver room versus what the Georgia defensive backs are at right now, does that look like it could be a more winnable game than it was before?
Yeah, I think that's relative.
That's fair. That's
more winnable. Fair. I had the Georgia game in the L column for firmly. When we did our preseason predictions.
To be understandable, yeah.
They haven't beat Georgia since 2017. It's been a really long time. And I can't stress enough, I think Georgia showed this past Saturday why they continue to be the class of the SEC and why recruiting always wins, right? All those 5 stars made plays at the end of the game on the road. They were absolutely unflappable. But if you're Auburn, Kirby Smart even acknowledged at media days, he said, look, that's the hardest place to go play. The Georgia players reiterated that sentiment. And you've got to use what is one of the greatest home field advantage in college football to your advantage come, early October when that game is time to be played. I just feel like Auburn has such an opportunity this season. Right. And Hugh Freeze needs it, man. I think he's battled through quite a bit. And I've been critical at how he's managed things at times. But the one thing you cannot be critical of is the level of talent that he's brought into the Plains.
That's fair.
Look, I think Auburn looks more talented. They feel more talented. A lot of people criticized how they beat South Alabama. I just saw a team that never struggled at all in that game. May not have looked the way that people wanted it to look, but at the end of the day, they won the game, and the game was never in doubt in my mind. So you've got to take that same attitude into every game. Like Georgia you can't be in awe of Georgia.
That's fair.
Right? Like
that is your opponent on that day.
Yes, that's it. I mean, you treat them like you treat South Alabama, like you treated Baylor, like you treated Ball State, and you give them your best, and hopefully that's enough to win.
Well, look, when I look at the record, still 3-0. That's all that cares. That's all that matters right now. Now, we know that running the ball is such an important thing, especially on the road. You have to be able to control the clock, control the pace. We know that Jackson Arnold can run, but we saw Jeremiah Cobb have quite the day against South Alabama, and could he be the guy kind of elevating towards maybe sharing the load a little bit more with the rest of that running back room? What do you think?
Yeah, look, I expect a pretty even load there. Jeremiah had a great opportunity this last week with Damari. I spoke with Damari after the game. He's going to be ready to go for Oklahoma.
There we go.
But what we've seen these first couple weeks is exactly why you need to be deep at that position. Yes. They take a lot of hits. They get hurt a lot, and you need more than one guy that can tote the rock. You don't want the responsibility of the run game to fall on Jackson Arnold. Now, I think he had 118 carries last season at Oklahoma. That was only 4 less than their lead running back. But you need Jackson to be that thing that is kind of like a complement to the run game and not the thing that carries it.
Right.
So these guys have that charge to go out and continue to pick up 5+ yards per carry. If they can average that, I think Auburn's going to be okay in the run game.
We look at the wide receiver room now. Obviously, Cam Coleman, a guy who's close to our hearts here in the area, looks like he should be the 6 star, the guy you throw every ball to. But what's really been interesting, distribution. I think that's really unique to see. Maybe some people are concerned, like, okay, Cam's not being 5-star Cam that we expected to. But when you get Singleton involved, Horatio Fields involved, is it better to see kind of that distribution because now you don't know where that attack is going to come from? Yeah,
look, Auburn can hurt you. They can hurt you all over the wide receiver room. Eric Singleton has a almost psychic connection with Jackson Arnold right now. It's pretty incredible. But Cam Coleman, what we saw on Saturday, he went and he caught a ball with his face mask being grabbed.
Well, okay, first of all, we're getting to the point where Cam Coleman doesn't need to see the ball to catch the thing, which is ridiculous. It's absolutely crazy to see.
Yeah, it's why you go out and you recruit that sort of talent. Those types of things are hard to teach, right? And so he's stronger, he's better, he's faster than most people that he's going to face, and he can make those sorts of plays for you. But Auburn is more than just Cam Coleman in that wide receiver room. We saw Perry Thompson catch a ball on Saturday. I was happy to see that.
Yeah.
They're going to need everybody. Now, Malcolm Simmons was held out precautionary, but we saw Bryce Cain get on the field in the return game. I was happy to see him get involved. That's another former top 150 player that came in that class with Cam Coleman. So you've got playmakers. You've got all the playmakers you need. You just have to go out and execute your offense, and Auburn's going to have a good chance to win.
Is there, I guess for some of us, even for me, like being, I'll take it to the NFL, a Houston Texans fan, like DeAndre Hopkins, Andre Johnson, that was our guy in the clutch we needed. Do we worry that there's not an established wide receiver one, or is it just better to have like, look, we have 5 guys we can throw the ball to in clutch situations?
Yeah, look, I think there is an established wide receiver one.
Gotcha.
I think that it is Cam. I think Cam's the guy. I think there's a 1B in Eric Singleton Jr.
Which is crazy.
Those guys do different things, and so they can hurt you in different ways. But, Jackson Arnold's not worried about that. I don't think fans should be worried about that. It's just, can these guys get open? Can they make plays for their quarterback when they catch the ball? Can they finish plays? Because Auburn's wide receivers have been much criticized over the years. Hugh Freeze talked about getting guys with catch radius in this league. Look, he went out and got them, and so now they just have to perform. I think they've been a little, by fan sentiment, underutilized these first few games, but this is the game where you unleash everything.
Now that's going to be super exciting.
So I think that's what's important to focus on.
Norman's going to be a crazy moment, and there's one guy who's shot up the charts. John Mateer has become this, early season superstar for Oklahoma, which we really didn't know what the Sooners were going to be. How do you stop a guy like Mateer who's been so effective so early on?
Look, I said this on our show earlier this week. I don't think you stop John Mateer.
Gotcha.
I think that you contain him. He's thrown 3 interceptions so far through 3 games this season, and you just have to take advantage of the mistakes when they're there. Look, on 2 of the 3 interceptions, it was probably the wide receiver's fault, running the wrong route, but those mistakes are happening, and look, Oklahoma's not going to make a lot of mistakes in this football game, so you have to take advantage when they do. They're a solid football team. I expect that they'll be one of those teams that has a say in who goes to the playoff, if not them. And John Mateer was the #1 player in the portal for a reason. So now Auburn got the #2 player in the portal, Eric Singleton Jr., but I like John Mateer's game. I think that again, if you were holding anything back, now's the time to show the world what it is, because this is not a game where you're afraid to put something on tape for your next opponent. This is the start of SEC play, Rex. So I think Mateer's going to have a good game. But Oklahoma only averaging 4.1 yards per rush.
Now that's interesting.
Which is the third worst mark in the SEC right now. So if you're Auburn,
make them one-dimensional.
Yeah, let Mateer have his day, but don't let them do the thing they're not good at, which is running the football right now. Okay. And that's not to say that they don't have talented backs. I'm just saying right now, 4.1 yards per rush is not going to beat Auburn. So you can't let them control the ball on the ground in their own house. And I think that's what made Auburn so effective versus Baylor, was running the ball against them in their own house, man, taking away possessions.
It was pretty much a bully coming into the house, like, all right, that's what you do, this is what we do, and we're going to win the game. Yeah. So I think having that bully mentality, especially on the road, Baylor, not Norman, granted all that, because the Baylor Bears aren't exactly what they were with RG3. Yeah. But with Norman, it's still very unique, and I think you're right. There's an optimism here. Is there a cautious optimism on the Plains?
Yeah, I think there is. And like I said, if you look back to Waco, Auburn did some things that they haven't done the first couple of years. Sure. And so if you're Hugh Freeze, you won Baylor doing what was effective. And they've got to find what's effective in this game. It's going to be a tougher challenge. Oklahoma has the defense to force Auburn to be two-dimensional. I think Jackson Arnold's going to have to throw the ball at least 25 times in this game for Auburn to have a chance. And he's going to need to complete at least 65 to 67% of his passes and have big plays down the field. They need the explosive plays. They have to take shots. They haven't taken a lot of shots, but they haven't had to. Right. So can he pull the trigger when it's there? Throw it up to Cam Coleman, throw it up to Eric Singleton, throw it up to Malcolm Simmons. Let those guys go get the football.
Look, when you have weapons like that, it's hard not to be excited about this game coming up in Norman. Mike, another great job, my friend. Where can people check out your stuff at the War Rapport?
Check us out on YouTube at the War Rapport. Every social media platform, we are the War Rapport. Follow me at Mike Gittens on Twitter, at Mike Gittens _ on Instagram. We've got a very unique game day experience for fans, so go on over to YouTube, sign up as a patron. We've got thousands of members that do a great job engaging with our community and help furthering Auburn fan culture. So it's going to be a fun time on Saturday.
By the fans, for the fans at the War Rapport. Also, he is responsible for covering UCF, which is now called Central, I believe, with the whole Bill Belichick thing going on. Really unique stuff. Thank you so much for your time, Mike. I appreciate you. All right, guys, we'll see you next Wednesday.